We're doing fair or unfair with the New York Knicks coming up in just a second. Everyone is excited about the New York Knicks making it to the playoffs for the first time since 2017 with Carmelo Anthony?
Much further back than
13.
that.
13. It was 13. Yes. My bad. It was 2013. I forgot about them. 2013. So we finally got them in the playoffs. We're getting to see the Knicks go out there and ball, and super exciting. See Madison Square Garden being almost packed, and then probably the next set of games are going to be super packed. And then we watched them actually play basketball, and we're trying to ask ourselves, what in the hell's going on? So, Jimmy, is it fair or unfair to say that the Knicks in the playoffs are frauds?
I mean, in part, is based upon what one's expectations were of them. I would say it's unfair to call them a fraud because they proved, at least during the regular season, that they were a good team. That's how they got the number 4 seed. Now, I know in the East, the number 4 seed is like a number 6 or 7 seed in the West, but that's neither here nor there. So I think that if your expectations of them were minimal, then they're not a fraud. I think that this is we're just happy to be here type of scenario, and the fans feel that even more so.
Yeah, I can see
to not only have basketball back and be able to be in the arena, but to be there for a playoff game for a team who's just not been able to get back to some type of prominence since the Patrick Ewing days.
Ooh, so that's true.
Yeah, so they're happy to be here. What we know is that they have a blueprint as far as what kind of team they can be, and it's primarily been shaped by Tom Thibodeau, who tends to take that blueprint with him wherever he goes. It works like every other time. So this is one of those times where it works, and it's clear that they need a shot creator. They don't need a top 10 player necessarily. Every team would love to have one of those, so if you can get one, get them. But they put themselves in a position to be attractive to someone who could be maybe in the top 15, top 20 range, who can create their own shot, who can be a good perimeter scorer, good perimeter defender. And that's, I guess, part of what they're missing in order to maybe crack the top 3 at some point over the next 2 to 3 seasons, so long as they keep Julius Randle healthy and ascending. Their best shot creator right now is Derrick Rose. And it's fun to see him, to see flashes of young MVP Rose before all the knee injuries, but he's not going to be able to do this next year. I'm sorry, he's not. And obviously the year beyond that. So my expectations were, I did pick them to win this series. I didn't pick them to go beyond that. So if I pick you to go to the second round, but you lose in the first to a team that is clearly better than you, then I don't see you as a fraud. I see you as having a good foundation upon which to build, and that's what's going to matter more. We're going to see really what this team is made of now that they don't catch anybody by surprise, but I do not see them as frauds, and I think that would be unfair.
I agree. I do think it's unfair to call the Knicks frauds, but there's a caveat to this.
Okay.
The expectations about the Knicks beating the Hawks were more so we just didn't pay attention to anything when it came to it. Like we missed the details on it. So, and some fans pointed this out. They kind of called out some national talking heads about their assessment that the Knicks were going to beat the Hawks, mainly because of the way Julius Randle played against the Hawks. Julius Randle averaged 37 points a game against them this season. 37, Jimmy. 37 points. So he was eating them up. And if I'm correct, it was also a double-double. So he was beating up on them the entire time. Then we got to the playoffs, and we realized something. Oh, yeah, the Hawks have been hurt most of the season. They also lost a coach, moved to a different coach, and, this is a different team. Mm-hmm. Someone else on Twitter made this comment, which I thought was pretty kind of eye-opening to me and my thought, because I say the same thing. I picked the Knicks to win this series, and then when I read this, I was like, this probably encompasses everything about a Tom Thibodeau team. They said that the Knicks got to the playoffs by playing hard. Then when they got to the playoffs, they realized start playing against teams that also play hard. That's the difference maker. So they hustle and grind the entire season to get to the playoffs. And then when they get in the playoffs, that's when everybody else starts hustling and grinding. Mm-hmm. So everybody else is kind of lax and just playing it and making it, going through the motions, where the Knicks, of course, with the Thibodeau team is known for just grinding his players out. Mm-hmm. And then when he gets to the playoffs, everybody's like, okay, time to tighten up. Let's tighten up everything and just make it happen. That to me is what happened to the Knicks. And no, I do think it's unfair to even say that the Knicks are frauds, but Julius Randle just showed us what happens when you put when everybody's healthy on a team and you actually face a full strength team. Mm-hmm. This Hawks team is a matchup nightmare for the Knicks so far. Like you said, they don't have a shot creator, which actually leads me to think that this might be actually a solid destination for Paul George.
Perhaps. I think part of what Julius Randle is realizing now is what it's like to be an all-star in the sense of how teams are able to scheme you out of a game, or at least they attempt to in the playoffs when they have nothing but 2 weeks to study you, to figure out all your strengths and weaknesses, and design an offense around you. Because going into this game, the Hawks had to know, if we can slow down Julius Randle, we can win this series in 5.
Yeah,
because he's their number one player. He's their all-star. If we can slow him down, Derrick Rose and R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley are not going to beat us. And that's exactly what they've done. And they've done a masterful job of that. Nate McMillan, right, took over as the head coach during the season. Done a fantastic job. What I'm surprised by is that since this Knicks team is built on strength and toughness and playing hard, I thought and I said this on the show, the Hawks were more of a finesse team. And usually I see strength and power beating finesse. But they're showing that not only are they the more talented team and that they're healthy, but that they are just as tough as the Knicks. That's the part I didn't see coming, because I knew going into this on paper they were more talented. I mean, heck, Trae Young is talented than 70% of their roster combined. We know that. But as far as how tough they've been, especially how tough they've been on Julius Randle, that shocked the heck out of me. And there's something else about this Hawks team that I'm going to mention at the end of the show that is also another reason why they did this. So I'm really impressed. The Hawks have probably impressed me more than any other team, including the Nets in the Eastern Conference, with what I saw in the regular season and what I see right now.
I get you. And what's funny is we talk about toughness and you say that you felt like the Hawks are more finesse.
Yeah.
And to be absolutely honest, they're a lot more tough
than
they are finesse. The only reason why we look at them as a finesse team because their star player is Trae Young. He's averaging 25 a game, and he shoots threes from half court all the time, even though he's only making them at a 34% clip. Mm-hmm. He ain't got no fear, so you have to respect his shot.
Yeah.
That's basically the only piece of finesse they have. Mm-hmm. Bogdanovich ain't a finesse player, but they also took the ball out of Trae Young's hand and have had Bogdan running the point a little bit and letting Trae move off the ball, kind of like a la Steph Curry setup, which was genius to me. I was like, I didn't think of that. And then when I started watching them, I'm like, okay, that's actually a solid game plan.
Right.
And so that's kind of the biggest change with them. And, of course, Lou Williams realized that, lemon pepper wings don't need to be got in the playoffs. Go ahead and go out there and try to, because he's on a team that's going to probably win something and make some moves in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And so he can take advantage of that. And Gallinari's Gallinari. He's a dude that's making a whole bunch of money without ever making an all-star game, and somehow can just, because he's tall.
Yeah.
And he shoots the ball without fear.
He's a smart player. And then you have John Collins, who looks good, who's a really good compliment to that team.
Capella's averaging 14 rebounds a game.
So they're looking at a matchup with the 76ers if they take care of business tonight against Washington. I mean, the 76ers, they might be looking at a 6 or 7 game series if the Hawks team can keep this up. I know the Sixers are a much different animal than what the Knicks are, but the Sixers should not be taking them lightly if, in fact, they do meet them. And they probably believe that they will at this point. I
say that with Philadelphia, they are this season, they're the second best defense by rating this year. They won't have a problem with Atlanta. I'm going to say 6, though, because I think that Atlanta can steal 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. Just an absurd Trae Young game where he hits a game-winning shot or a 3.
That's one win.
That's going to be at least 1 win, maybe 2. But Philadelphia's going to put easy work against them, unfortunately. But
I don't know.